Right, race 2 of the weekend for the OGRL All-Comers about to get underway here at Mallory Park. This will be another 12-lap race with a green flag lap. The cars away onto the green flag lap, away by the number 3 of Thomas Kalita in his 1995 Ford Mondeo Super Touring car. Behind him, on the outside of row 2, is 33 Owen Potter with the BMW M3 touring car from the 80s, the Group A machine. Then on row 2, 62 Kian Twig in the 600cc Mark III Fiesta. And then rather contrasting fortunes behind that, in 4th position is number 8 Ben Singleton in the Porsche Carrera Cup car, the 997 GT3 car. Then position number 5, we'll see Ken van der Bosch in his BMW M3 GTR, very meaningful piece of machinery, car 56. Then car 48 is behind that. That is Aaron McGrath in the Audi RS5 DTM car, but that car is out of position and it should be behind the car at the back, which is the 872 car, the Ford Falcon, driven by Josh Beattie. Anyway, as always with Circuit Racing at OGRL, we have the services of Owen Potter with us as well today. So good morning, Owen, and welcome once more to Mallory Park for yet another OGRL meeting at this venue.
Yep, Mallory Park, the favoured circuit of all things OGRL circuit racing. It's a brilliant circuit, all the drivers seem to like it. We've got 12 minutes of action coming up with a variety of cars. Race 1 saw a mix of results with all different forms of cars going at it, hammer and tongs as you would expect, as they form up on the grid now. Just waiting for the last cars to come in position and we'll get the race started.
Right, everyone in position then. The Ford Falcon is now forming up, so is the Audi at the back. As said, 12 minutes of racing for the Open Sports GT and Saloon cars, and the lights go out, away we go, and a great start from the M3 on the front row. Potter's away into the lead. The Mustang is left somewhat at the back of the grid as it fell to lunch, and 3 for the lead already goes Ken van der Bosch in his M3 GTR. So round Gerrards they go for the first time. Everybody has survived the first bend, which is very, very good stuff, as the speed differential between all the cars is rather large in this event. Side by side on the back straight for second as they go towards the S's. The Porsche goes through on the outside in number 8 Singleton. 56 McGrath follows through in the RS5 and slots in front of the Mondeo. That's the third place battle, I should say, with the M3 GT at the front, taking over from the more contemporary and more standard M3 that runs in second, but that's still by no means a slow car, that car running second. The Porsche now will have a look at the M3 clean down the Kirkby straight towards Gerrard for the second time. The DTM car is there looking at McGrath in second. They make their way round Gerrard's, and there's a bit of a touch between 33 and 8, and that's going to send the Ben Singleton machine out wide. Through comes McGrath on the inside and will take third, and will probably get second by the exit of the corner. Yes, he will. The Porsche following suit behind, and also goes through on the inside, leaving the BMW extra dry, I'm afraid to say, Owen.
Yep, BMW hung out, that's the nature of the circuit, but it's just so down on power compared to these full-on GT cars. But it's nice to see it hanging in there, trying to put up a fight. So we look at Aaron McGrath coming out the top, having a little bit of a wobble there, sliding around, not quite got the grip in the tyres yet. They'll remember the formation lap needed for most of these cars, running on slick tyres. So as we see now, we got McGrath coming across the line, Singleton following close behind in the Carrera Cup car there. Look, going into Gerrard's corner, and Potter's dropped right back. And Singleton's gone wide, he's off, and Gerrard's almost in the wall. He's in the wall now.
Yep, out wide goes the brake car, rejoins, and very nearly gets collected by Owen Potter as he tries to rejoin. Potter very briefly gets third place back for all of about 2 metres before the sheer power of that inline 6 engine in the Porsche rings true and leaves the BMW somewhat in the weeds, which is a shame. There's the 5th place runner, that is Thomas Kalita in his Super Touring Ford Mondeo, normally a car that would be very, very quick, but against the field it's got today, maybe not so much, and in fact it's gone off at short hairpin and hit the tyre barriers. So the Mondeo has hit strife in the first few laps of this one. As we look down the empty track to see where the Fiesta and the Falcon have gone, and the answer to that question is, Owen, they're a long way back.
Yep, and here is that Fiesta in question. He's it's been lapped now. Straight away, he's been 3 laps and he's been lapped by the top 2 cars as we come in top. He's gone wide, twigs off, all over the grass. He's looking trying to maintain control, which he has done, but he's, yeah, unfortunately one of the slowest cars here today, but still good to see him having fun out there as we see Josh Beattie coming up the hill in the 60s Ford Falcon V8 screaming at the top corner.
Yeah, that car's now about to go a lap down to Ben Singleton, the Porsche Carrera Cup car. He runs wide and lets the Porsche through and has a huge kick of oversteer on the power, as any good muscle car does. Down Devil's Over. This is where the Falcon doesn't really enjoy itself a huge amount. He gets lapped by Owen Potter in the M3 touring car for good measure as they came out of Devil's Oboe that time and passed race control. There's the second place runner for you, or rather the first place runner for you, which is Kane van der Bosch in the M3 GTR. He's already put a lap on the Super Touring car, and we're what, 5 laps in, Owen, and one of the supposed quick cars is a lap down already.
Just goes to show how much speed the higher downforce cars like the GTR and the DTM car has, with the big wing, the splitters, the fat tyres and all that, to a mid-90s touring car. The Super Touring cars were fast in their own right, but oh dear! As we see the full Falcon there spinning round in the background and now in the foreground there, that looks rather total to me. The car's crapped down, it's just been lapped. Yeah, that looks sort of game over, but he's looking like he's trying to carry back on.
I don't think it's going to go a huge much further other than going to the body shop, because that was a fairly sizable impact. The end of Stebby Straight is one of the fastest parts of the course here at Mallory, and it just looked as if he missed the braking point, and the Falcon is not the easiest car to slow down in the first place, which sadly has led to the car running wide. That does take the pressure off Keane, so he goes another lap down to the DTM car. That's twice in 6 laps. The DTM car made that look pretty nondescript, really. Just went straight around the outside of the Fiesta like it was stood still. Anyway, we look back to find the leader has remained ahead of the Owen Potter entry so far, car 33, and makes his way onto the Kirkby Straight. The Beamer runs a tad wide and has managed to fall into the grasp of Aaron McGrath in 48, which I suspect may not be the grasp of Aaron McGrath for very long. My theory is correct on that, as the DTM car goes flying through on the inside. Gerrards, I don't think Potter really puts up a fight there, because what's the point battling a car that's lapping 5 or 6 seconds quicker than you, arguably already 2 laps ahead. So the leader has caught the 3rd place entry, and bearing in mind the leader is now catching and lapping a full spec GT3 car in just 8 laps of the track.
Insane. It's just insane to think that, but it's just, look at the speed it can just carry into the corners. Bosch, very experienced driver and a skilled driver in his own way, and the grip that car's got round the outside at Gerrards. He's 4th second, but more of it, but still come out the corner in front of the Carrera Cup car of Singleton, who doing nothing wrong, driving his own race. It's just that these high-end, high downforce cars are just got so much more grip, and look at the speed it's pulled away, and there's the other one of Aaron McGrath going up the hill.
Absolutely superb, some of these machines. Arguably some of them are a bit too fast for this Mallory Park circuit, it has to be said. I think next year when we run this event, not only we're thinking about splitting the grid in half, having saloon cars and the sports and GT cars that are separately raced to the saloons, we may also be, for the sports and GT cars, looking at a different venue for them, just to give them a chance to stretch their legs. The Fiesta goes a lap down for a 3rd time, 62 Key and Twig dropping back, and well, here comes the Porsche to be lapped by the Audi of Aaron McGrath, who just goes past like the Porsche is not even moving, to be fair. It's no disrespect to the Porsche or even the Fiesta for that matter. They are both very good cars in their own right, but they just don't have the performance to keep up with the RS5. This is a Group 1 touring car, of course. It is actually a touring car. He's fighting with the touring car class here today. But I'll tell you one thing, there's not a lot of Audi RS5 left in it. It is very much a silhouette space frame car. And off the track and into the barrier, backwards in a massive way goes Thomas Gibbs in a huge fashion at Gerrards. That was a big off there for the Monday, and that could be game over.
Yeah, but a battle emerging here. I can't quite picture where it is, but I think this is a battle for the lead. McGrath, he's closing down now on Kevin van der Bosch in the Audi there. The 2 fastest cars here going at it. This is what we want to see. We didn't quite see that in race 1, unfortunately, but it's looking like so today. Aaron McGrath closing up, and Bosch he's spinning round. Could not handle the M3 anymore. He's he's carrying on. He's in second place, but unfortunately that has cost him the lead and sort of robbed us of a little bit of a few laps of battling. But I'm sure he'll charge back down. He's quick enough to catch him back up. Let's just see what happens.
Very much so. I think that was just a little bit too much parking at the hairpin. We are on lap number 12. We are estimating 17 or 18 laps. We managed to get 18 laps in race 1. This car in race 1 we're looking at now, the Audi RS5 DTM car, managed to set a 39.9 second lap time in race 1, which is, I think, a lap record at Mallory Park for anything, so that is very impressive. I think that car was on the verge of getting a 38-second lap time in practice on the build-up to this event this week. Meanwhile, we look at Owen Potter, who's really in a very lonesome 4th place in the M3, has a bit of a nice drift going on, and while it's almost gone a bit too far, and he's ended up really where he shouldn't have ended up, and nearly took the bike chicane at Gerrard's there, but has been able to regain control of his vehicle and has kept going in a rather orderly fashion. But of course it wouldn't be an M3 without the tail sticking out at some point during the course of the 12-minute race. Potter managed to get the best consistency in race 1, nearly perfect, with a consistency rating of 99.3. Speaking of which, here's the complete opposite from race 1. This Porsche didn't finish race 1, as sadly, going into Devil's Elbow halfway through the race, the throttle stood wide open and the car hit the tyre barrier at the bottom of the hill and rolled across the track in front of the racer, Aaron McGrath at the time, almost taking Thomas Kalita with him in the Super Tour, who was just ahead at the time, that was millimetres away from being wiped out.
Yeah, that was a scary accident. No one likes to see a throttle stick open, especially with a performance car like that. It's straight into a barrier. As Potter's lost it, gone completely in front of the second place car. He's completely gone. That's one M3 spun out by himself in front of the other. He's carried on. A nice couple of 360s there, just to show it off. He's in a 4th place, but that's not ideal for the number 33 Silkerling car as we head up towards Devil Elbow now. He's had sort of a couple of laps from hell here, 2 spins in front of the 2 fastest cars. Maybe he's getting scared, and he's gone again at the top corner on his own. Tyres must have overheated or something there, or complete brain fade on the driver's part. But yeah. Singleton's just gone straight off into the top corner. Hopefully the throttle's not stuck this time. As we see Bosch coming out the pits at 300 million miles an hour. It looks like he had to do a change of tyres there, but that was quick. We just missed that as he heads onto the back straight. And here get Aaron McGrath now to start what is to be another lap, and Singleton did manage to get out the barrier absolutely unscathed.
I wonder if there's some fluid down there at Shaw's hairpin. Both the BMW and Porsche going through quick succession. They both lost traction at the same point. So I'm wondering if there was some fluid down there, because it looked to be both cars just lost traction at a very unusual point on the circuit. Nonetheless, the leader is coming through the S's now, as he does in a rather casual fashion at around 100 miles an hour into the braking zone at Shaw's hairpin. This time, both cars that we see in shot have managed to get round the hairpin fairly unaffected, but Aaron is really just going for a walk in the park at this stage. The checkered flame flag goes up and it almost goes down. Now it's going to be next time around, I think we're going to see the checkered flag come down on this lead car, which is at the moment coming through Gerrard's onto the back straight for the final time. He's run wide, he's through the gravel trap, and that could be curtains. He's had a massive tank step at length of the back straight. And eventually the car bites him and round he goes to the Edwina chicane. And tootling past goes the M3. Owen Potter gives a friendly wave on the way past. And I don't think he's going to stay there much longer. Yes, we're on the last lap now. I can confirm you. The checkered flag is at the ready on the gantry. I can see in front of race control. Aaron McGrath will do the honours of lapping the M3 for one final time by the looks of it, as he makes his way to the line in a very squirmish fashion.
Squirmish still as we go around the final corner, but he's going on to the home straight. Aaron McGrath 2 from 2 wins the OGRL All-Comers race. Owen Potter there in 4th place, coming down a couple of laps behind. As we see, McGrath on his victory lap. We have to see the order further down. I think it would be Kevin van der Bosch in 2nd place. Here he is, yes, coming out of the top hairpin now, heading towards down the hill. Even with a pit stop and a few little scares, he still managed to hang on to 2nd place. I think that's 2 seconds. I can't remember what he got in race 1. I think that's the second. Then here's Ben Singleton looking to finish the race. Or he has finished the race, more than less, which is the complete opposite from race 1, and he finished on the podium at that.
And there's Thomas Kalita crossing the line in 5th place. I believe that would be in his Mondeo behind the M3 of Owen Potter, who got 4th, which for both Potter and Kalita, they've actually dropped down one place in their race 1 result, but that is because of, on this occasion, the Porsche did finish, and the cars are pretty much finished in the order they are speed-wise, to be brutally honest with you. The only exception I would say to that rule today has probably been the Fiesta beating the Falcon, but obviously the Falcon around Mallory is going to struggle with the long sweeping corners that we have here. The Fiesta is very much its own in those corners. But good to see a nice variation of cars, some very different bits of machinery out there, and like we say, all things being well, next year we might do this again, but once again with a slightly adjusted format where we split the idea into 2 separate races, because it was brought to our attention this year that it has to be said, having the saloon cars out at the same time as the GT and sports cars wasn't really the best of ideas. It didn't really help us a huge amount with getting car numbers, and it didn't really help the racing a huge amount either, because there was just too much differential in the cars that we had. But all the cars in their own right were very, very good, and all of them would be welcome back anytime at any of our open events, including the hill climb in a couple of weeks' time, where I'm sure a couple of them may reappear to do a battle against the clock. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I'm hoping now that Mr. Potter has managed to get his paperwork in order and give us a result of that one for the all-comers.
I have actually. I've got the results right here, and I'll be able to tell you the order of them right now. So the winner of that race is Aaron McGrath, who completed 17 laps in the 12 minutes. In the DTM Audi. Second place, Kevin van der Bosch in the M3 V8 GTR, again 17 laps, a mere 21 seconds behind, and that was the end of the lead lap runners, to sort of no surprise. Third place, Ben Singleton in the number 8 Porsche Carrera Cup car, 2 laps down, so he completed a total of 15 laps. Owen Potter, 4th place in the BMW, late 80s DTM car, just shows the development through the years of the DTM series. In 4th place, completed 14 laps, 3 laps behind the winner, as we saw and got past on the final corner. 5th place, Thomas Kalita in the number 3 Super Touring Mondeo from 95. He completed 14 laps, another 3 laps down, and was about 31 seconds behind the nearest car to him. 6th place, and the final finisher of this race, was Kian Twigg in the Ford Mark III Fiesta. He completed a total of 12 laps and finished 5 laps behind the winner. And the only DNF in that race was Joshua Beattie, who retired on lap 3 after that hefty shunt down at the back corner.
Yes, I think another note as well I have is the fastest lap in that race was set by McGrath, and I can tell you that was a 40.140. So 40.140 was the fastest lap in the race, set by Aaron McGrath in the Audi RS5 DTM car. An absolutely incredible lap with, I would imagine, an average lap speed of well over 100 miles an hour, as that's what slick-tied Caterhams get around here, an average lap speed of 100 miles an hour. That car blitzed any lap time a Caterham's going to set by around 12 seconds, I would imagine.
Yeah, insane speed, and it was a pure spectacle to watch how quick it was going through first corner and all the other ones for that matter. Just how much grip it had all the way through. It was like it was on rails. But yeah, fantastic to watch and well driven as well. I mean, going around this track at that speed with all the bumps and undulation is not easy. So to hang on to it at that speed, setting new lap records, is an achievement in its own right.
Yes, and it should be noted as well, just a quick note before we do wrap things up, that from talking to Aaron, that car was actually running a different compound of tyres in this race, because in race 1 it was discovered that the tyres were not able to last the full 12 minutes here at Mallory, so he had to put a harder compound of tyres on the car, and even they lost their performance at the end of the race. I think that is possibly a show of just how brutal that car is on a track that is mainly corners. There are no straights of any real significance for a car of that stature to have, and I suspect that may have been the problem for Kevin van der Bosch, who actually ran out of tyres in just 10 out of the 12 minutes. A lot of these cars here today were outperforming themselves because the track was so abrasive on tyres they couldn't keep going, and that is a massive problem to have in a short sprint race such as what we have here. And that is another reason why, for the next time we do this, this track will not be getting used for the bigger cars, because the cars can't handle the circuit, which is, I know, a strange thing to hear. When you look at the layout of Mallory, there's nothing to it really, but the where it puts the tyres through the S's and Gerards is unbelievable because of the cornering forces.
Yeah, it's just constant load on the left-hand side tyres, and as you said, there's barely any straight to cool them down. I think everyone suffered with tyre wear. I think even Owen Potter said his front left was coming off through that one, just through the constant loading of cars pushing so hard. So yeah, that'll probably be the reason why Aaron's fastest lap was low. If you had to go to a harder tyre just to try and make the distance, it would make sense. The reason why he was a few seconds off his best, but still blisteringly quick.
Yes, and that very much is the moral of the story. If you want to win an all-comers race, just bring the fastest car you can find. But that will do us here at Mallory Park today. We are back again in a couple of weeks' time at the Munco Hill Climb in Spain, where we see an open event for anything up the hill climb. We've already got some in the region of, I reckon, probably give the exact figure, but I think somewhere in the region of 15 cars already entered for that event, including some rather unusual beasts coming out for that one, including a couple of Formula 1 cars from throughout the years, one from just 2 years ago, and another one from the mid-90s, of course. Other notes, of course, are a 1970 Can-Am car booked in. Obviously, a couple of OGRL regulars out there as well, with one of our very own silhouettes making an appearance in the sports and saloon car category on that occasion. But I think we'll be in for a very good day of racing there, well, hill climbing rather, in that situation in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep, 14 cars entered, variety mix, good balances across all the few cars. So should be a good event. Stay tuned.
Yep, and anyway, on that bombshell, we conclude our day's racing here at Mallory Park. Thank you very much for your support, and we will see you again in the very near future. We are back racing with circuit racing again here on Monday. That will be at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit as the Intermark Silhouettes continue on their campaign on a slightly disjointed calendar. But with that, thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.